What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Night of the Shield. If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, and smack that like button so we can continue to move up the algorithm and bring life back to Night of the Shield. I want to start off this video just thanking everybody for all the support over this last week. I'm doing a much better job of preparing myself in the evenings to come sit down here and create some type of content, to have some type of conversation. It's kind of hard, but with work and kids, but I'm finding the time, and I'm really excited that I am, because I'm really having fun doing this again. It really feels good. So thank you for all the support. Please share this video. Help me get this message out there. I was going to talk about the matchup with the Cleveland Browns, and I want to give it another day because something else I'd rather talk about. I'm kind of in off-season mode. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to come out here and sugarcoat anything. I really find myself in off-season mode. I'm more concerned about what's going to be happening with this franchise in the future than I am in the present. And that's, pretty much the team's fault, to be honest with you. The inconsistency, the uncertainty of what we're going to play like each and every week makes it very hard to say, hey, to come on here logically and say, hey, this is what I think is going to happen this weekend, because in all honesty, we have no clue. It's that inconsistent. It's that bad right now. Players are starting to come out. D-Jax is saying some things like, look, I'm tired of the dysfunction. I'm really tired of the dysfunction. And, the old me would allow this dysfunction to make me dysfunctional. And I'm really trying to keep that at bay. But it just seems like a few weeks ago or a week ago, I really wanted to get into this franchise and really kind of break it down from the top to the bottom. And lately, I just kind of find everything going right back to Mark Davis, and rightfully so, because that literally it was where it begins. Even moving forward, I talked a little bit about Mike Mayock yesterday, but there still hasn't been a decision. That stuff has to work itself out still. It still sits on Mark's desk. I mentioned in the last video about them getting the Super Bowl rights. Now, I made that video before the announcement yesterday, right? It was information that was out there. It was already talked about how they were going to get the Super Bowl. They made it official, and they did their own official announcement and all that. I had already recorded that video. So, that the night before. So that is neither here nor there. So basically what I'm getting at is Mark Davis never even made the comments that he made. And you know what I like to do? I like to read in between the lines. So that's what I'm here to do today, is to once again talk about Mark Davis and his position with this franchise right now, this organization. Look, I tell my kids all the time that you reap what you sow. You make you gotta lay in the bed that you make. It all starts with us. A lot of the times we want to point the fingers, and primarily we've been pointing the finger at Derek Carr, and we've been pointing it hard at him for a very long time now. A lot of people are tired of the Derek Carr debate, me being one of them. I mean, that'll work itself out. Sure, I have plenty of things I could say every day about the situation, but I know that decision's out of my hand. And, that's what kind of started the conversation about Mark Davis, and the conversation shifted towards him because he made the comment that he would make a decision on Derek Carr before the end of the season. Now, whether that's true or not true, or he already has his mind made up what he wants to do with Derek Carr, the focus has now shifted from Derek Carr to Mark Davis, which I think is where it should be anyway, because that's where, that's where it all starts. Well, Mark Davis came out yesterday, and he made a comment, and he said something along the lines of, we might not be winning on the field, but, we're winning off the field. And obviously and naturally, the Raider Nation took that a certain way. They got a little upset. And like I always say, though, there's always more to what people are saying, especially in the public eye. We listened to Derek Carr's presser yesterday and kind of broke it down. There's so much more to the story. Sometimes, people are saying things, and a lot of times we just focus on the actual words they're saying and not really breaking down what could be the message behind that. Let's be real. A lot of people are calling for Mark, just give up. You don't care about this football team. I beg to differ. I think he does, and I think that's where that statement comes from. And let me explain myself a little bit. I've done this many times. I'm going to regurgitate some of the information and my thought process, over the years is going to come back out here. But, the Raider Nation would not be the Raider Nation without Al Davis. Al Davis created a world brand. It's well known. I mean, his maverick mentality, his fighting the league and being the man that goes against the man is something that we thrive off as a nation. But let's make no mistake about it. There's a price to pay when that happens. And, Al Davis was a very proud man, and he should be. He was a very smart, proud man. The guy came into the league as a coach. He didn't own the Raiders. He just coached the Raiders. Then he got the opportunity to be the president, the CEO. Then he bought the Raiders. He's a self-made man. That's why a lot of us relate to the Raiders and Al Davis, because he represents that hard-working part of our country that we just love. And in that process, he got a lot of slack because he was self-made. He wasn't a billionaire. He wasn't one of those guys. That's been something he's been battling for a long time. So when he looked to the league and says, look at the product that I produce, and he looked for the league for help, and the league fought him at every turn. Look, Al Davis wanted more out of Oakland. Oakland, way back in the day, did not want to give him what he wanted. The league didn't want to step in and help. The league took Oakland's side. Hey, at the end of the day, Al's like, forget it. I'm going to move to LA anyway, because in Al's mind, that's where the money was. Now, more to that story, Al had negotiated a new stadium in LA, and he ended up getting cut at the knees because of the league once again, and he moved back to Oakland, where more of the continuous same drama continues to happen. He was in deep when it came to the league. He was not getting along. There was a lot of lawsuits. There was a lot of bad blood. And this is where the whole controversy comes about when it comes to how they referee Raider games and how they really just kind of keep the Raiders at bay, because he couldn't sit at the big boy table, even though he was probably the smartest football mind in the room. Isn't that sad? But at the end of the day, Al knew what he was doing. Al has to look at, at the situation as a whole, and he continued to hold that grudge himself and fought the man the whole way. And I'm going to be honest with you, I respect that. Now, it came at a price. Now, a lot of us older Raider fans used to have that conversation back in the day where nothing's going to change in this franchise until Al passes on. It's something that I accepted early on in my fandom, if you will. I knew that this was just going to be the way that it was. It was going to take real change. Now, at that time, I didn't know that it was going to be his son that took over. I honestly felt at the time that once he passed, that some other owner would come in, and that's where the culture will change. And that's what's being talked about now when you talk about Bezos, the owner of Amazon, and the second richest man in the world, by the way. If he was to sit there and buy this franchise, the Raider Nation as we know it will change completely. The whole culture of the Raiders would change. And I'm not necessarily ready to accept that. I'm not saying that that's not going to happen at some point in time, but I'm just saying I'm not ready for that right now. And everything that Mark Davis has set out to do is to kind of counteract what his father created, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I'm sure it was something that was probably talked about and knew that was going to have to happen. Like, Mark proudly took over the ownership of this football team, and he made it his mission to kind of make his own path, make his own destiny, and create his own legacy with the Raiders. Now, it's not fair for us as fans to ask him to sell that legacy away. That's his father. That's his born right to have this franchise, and it's his right to do whatever he wants with the franchise. We're the ones that have the choice whether or not we want to be Raider fans or not. And a lot of us choose to stand by this team no matter what, whether they were in LA, whether they were in Oakland, or whether they're right here in Las Vegas. This is what we choose to do. That's what I personally choose to do. And we're going to get into some deep stuff with Mark, right? We talked already in the last week about how he's trying to make amends with the league, and he's trying to sit at the big boy table. Look, at the end of the day, we focus too much on Mark Davis's personal wealth. Nobody cares about Mark Davis's personal wealth. Nobody cares that he drives a minivan or a Prius or whatever he wants to drive around in. No one cares about his bull haircut. especially the league, especially the rest of the other 31 owners in this league could care less what his bank account looks like, what it looks like when he writes a check. That's all irrelevant to them. The only thing that they personally care about, and it's something that we have not been able to produce in years, is true revenue. There's a thing in the NFL called revenue sharing. The Raiders are one of the poorest teams in the league. We were in one of the poorest cities in the league. Oakland was not supporting, and I know this is going to hit people a different way, and please, feel free to blow me up in the comment section, but it's facts. Like, they ain't no one more passionate than the Raider Nation, and we did support this team. We did fill up that Coliseum at the end, but there was years we did not, and there was years that we did not because we weren't winning. This franchise was in disarray, and some of that is Al's fault, and some of that is just the powers of that be in the league always holding us back and not giving us the power to really negotiate and have some type of equity and find another place to live till we could have that. Mark Davis was able, with the help of his father, I'm sure his father had a lot of things to do with it before his passing, but the opportunity to land in Vegas was game-changing for this franchise. Game-changing for this franchise. It's a city that has money. It's a city that's going to back this franchise up. It comes at a price. It comes at a price. We've already seen it this year. We've seen the way that the stadium is filled. It's a totally different atmosphere. A lot of the people don't know how to root for a football team inside a stadium. And there's some things that need to be ironed out, and those need to be fixed with winning. But the first thing, and one of Mark's sole responsibilities, is to make sure that he's marketing this team correctly and he builds up that revenue, because that's what's going to put him at the big boy table, because that's all they care about. They don't care about if Mark Davis owns Amazon, or if Mark Davis owns the Aces, or if Mark Davis owns a casino at some point, because none of that money goes to the league, right? Jerry Jones' oil money does not go into the league. Kroenke's Walmart money does not go back into the league. There's no revenue sharing on their other businesses. There's only revenue sharing when it comes to their franchise, the stadium, the money that it generates through the sales at the concession stands, clothing sales, all of that. And you would think that we'd be up there with the merchandise sales, but look, when you're the poorest team in the franchise and you lived in a poor city in a fall apart stadium and you're not winning, look, the foot was on our throat. So when Mark Davis, because this is the point I'm really trying to get at, long-winded way of saying it, when Mark says we might not be winning on the field, but we're winning off the field, he's really taken a shot at the league. That's my personal take, right? I can't factually sit here and say that's what's going on, but I promise you this, Mark Davis cannot come out in front of the public and be like, look, I might not be the richest guy, I might not be the richest owner, I might not be able to win certain games because I feel like, we're not getting treated fairly on the field still, but I'm starting to get that bag, baby. I'm starting to generate revenue. My stadium's full. I got casinos backing me. I got a freaking club in the end zone. There's end zone club seating. I got a club up in the rafters. I got these suites that are completely filled all the time. My revenue is high. I have a high ticket product and it's selling right now. Even when my team is doing poorly, I'm generating revenue. My move to Vegas is working for what I was in charge of, right? So as long as he generates that revenue, they're gonna have to give him respect because he's making money for the league now. We're in a position where we're making money for the league. Now, I don't know where we're gonna sit. We'll have to try to investigate that, because remember, this is our first real season in Vegas. Last year, doors were closed. Not a lot of people were making a lot of revenue. Some of the reasons why there's the cap didn't get raised. Now the doors are open, people are making revenue again, and I can't wait to see where we sit on that front. I can't wait to just investigate, find the numbers, and see where we're at when it comes to presenting revenue to the league, because that is what the league is looking for. That's what the league cares about. Would it be easier if a guy like Bezos was to come in and buy the franchise and he has all this extra money to back him when it comes to marketing? Yeah, they like that too, right? That was one of the reasons why Kroenke was able to put the Rams in LA, because he funded his own stadium, right? He didn't need any help. He didn't need the league. He didn't need the city. He came in, he wanted to capitalize on the market. LA's a huge market, probably number one market in the world right now. He wanted to go and capitalize on it. So he has the money to do it. So there is something to say when it comes to having that kind of cash flow outside of your organization, right? And that's what Kroenke brings to the table. That's what Jones brings to the table. Kraft, all these other big owners that own these other big corporations outside of their own sports franchise, they're able to have that kind of flexibility when it comes to marketing and doing extra things, buying up tickets, giving them away, having things. Mark's not that guy, but Mark found himself in a position where he has that backing. Regardless of whether or not he sold his soul to the devil in Vegas, maybe so, but I think it's a win-win. And landing the Pro Bowl, landing the draft, now getting a Super Bowl, and probably many more to come, and so-called grabbing that bag, that's generating revenue for the league that the league cannot turn its cheek to. There's not too many cities in the league that can offer the type of entertainment that surrounds a big event like the Super Bowl. Right? NFL has always done a good job about going into these places and creating environments. It's like Super Bowl week. It's not the Super Bowl day. It's not just that Sunday, right? It's a whole week event. And Vegas is going to have the opportunity to put on a show. And that's one of the things that Vegas does well. It's going to create more revenue. It's going to generate more buzz around the Raiders. It's going to give Mark Davis, because this is the other thing we struggled in, it's going to give Mark Davis the capital to be more aggressive in free agency in a few years. Now remember, he's got a lot of catching up to do. He's paying off a lot of bills. But one of the problems that the Raiders have had is having the capital to back up the guaranteed money it takes to land some of these free agents and some of these bigger contracts. It's something that's been behind the scenes. He's been mocked about it. The nation has mocked him about it. People that have left the nation because they do not like the fact that we moved to Vegas bring that thing up. Oh, he's poor, he's broke. Trust me, the dude's not poor anymore, and the dude's not broke anymore. He doesn't need to have personal billions in the bank. The organization itself just has to have the capital and the money to put up, and he's going to start generating that. It's going to take a few more years, right? He's going to have to catch up on some bills. He's going to have to settle into his new little environment here in Vegas, but eventually all this revenue is going to start generating and lifting him up financially as far as the Raider organization goes, and he'll have more capital. That's the difference. People say, well, he paid John Gruden $10 million a year. Look, he paid John Gruden $10 million a year, but he didn't have to put up the capital for that, right? He just had to make sure that he had $10 million extra dollars at the end of it all through revenue sharing and all that to pay the man. And the fact that John Gruden's on is just put more money back in his bag. Now he can use that for other things. Look, the story's not done being written here, right? And I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to be sitting here in a few years if we really don't change the culture as far as winning and losing when it comes to the play on the field. We need to bring in the proper presidents, and the organization needs to build itself up in a business sense. It needs to get better in the coaching department. It needs to get better in personnel on the field and execution and winning football games, playoff appearances. Look, Super Bowls aside, which is the goal every year, and as fans, it's something that we long for. But at the end of the day, if we're competitive and we find ourselves playing in the playoff games, getting extended seasons like that, playing in a couple of championship games, yes, eventually a Super Bowl, then that's just going to take us to the next level. That's what he is still trying to build when he does these types of things. So landing the Super Bowl, building up more revenue, he knows that's going to help his reputation with the rest of the league. Because trust me, guys, the Jerry Jones, the Robert Krafts, the Kroenkes, the Snyders, these owners don't care as much about their organization, their players, their teams, as much as Mark Davis. What they care about the most is the money they make, the revenue. This is an investment for them, and to keep that investment and build their capital, they need their teams to make money and win. But they're not as passionate. Like Mark Davis literally said, I'm not going into that stadium until Raider Nation goes in that stadium. He not only cares about the revenue himself and being able to sit at the table and help call shots, he cares about us as well. And trust me, we will miss that element, because he got that from his father too. We will miss that element if he sells his franchise. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. Once again, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, so you can be updated every time I drop another video. Smack that like button. Let's push this out. Share this video. Get the word out that Knight is back. He's creating videos. Let's continue to move up that algorithm, y'all. I really want to kind of get some buzz flowing in this channel. And just remember, man, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. We got to give it time. We don't want that culture to fully change here, right? We do not want the Raider Nation to become something it was never meant to be. Al cared about this team. Mark does care about this team, and what he's trying to do off the field, even though he's taken wrong a lot, and he sometimes looks like he doesn't know what the hell he's doing when it comes to football decisions, but you cannot deny the fact that he put us in a position to build up our revenue, to build up our capital, to make us players in the future. And if he can't do that, then then maybe it is time to sell. But anyway, you guys know what it is. Till next time, stay Raider strong, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.